Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Great. So this morning, you have voted already, or you're about to vote?
Unfortunately for this election, I am not a delegate. Last year I stood for National Women's Organizer. I did not win. So I am not a delegate for this particular election.
Right. So what's your role this morning?
My role basically is that I do speak for Dr. Bawumia. I am part of his communications team, and I have been part since he started. I was in the regions with him. I visited 12 regions with him. So I do have first-hand knowledge of how the campaign has been, especially in our regions.
Obviously, it's not been an easy campaign for you. It was predicted, pollsters have all forecasted that Bawumia has been in the lead, and they still say he's in the lead. Actually projecting that he will win by, some suggest he will win by 50, getting to 60. But your campaign insists that anything less than 75% of the votes should not be taken seriously, because you are hoping to do up to that or even 80%. Where's your confidence coming from?
Our confidence is stemming from the fact that we have actually visited all 276 constituencies. And I'm saying 276 because we all know the Guan constituencies paper has been laid in Parliament. So next year's election, we are going to have the Guan constituency. And Dr. Bawumia has personally visited all 276 constituencies. He has interacted with almost all 200,000 delegates. And from the conversations we've had with them and from the interactions, we'll be surprised if we get anything below 75%. And that's where our confidence comes from. Our confidence also stems from the fact that Dr. Bawumia has been in the space of the NPP for the past 16 years. And in the 16 years, he has been with the delegates. Almost all the delegates have had personal interactions with him along the line at a certain point. They do know him. They know what he stands for. They know how he has served the NPP, the sacrifices he's made for the NPP. Right. And he does have a connection with the grassroots of the party. And when you do have such a connection, you are quite confident of what you'll get. So that's where our confidence stems from.
Right. Ellen, it's been suggested that you almost took the campaign for granted after the superdelegate vote, but until your contender, who is now put in the front run, Kennedy Agyapong, began to fire some salvos, making all sorts of accusations, attempts to bribe him, and among other things, that you had taken the campaign for granted until he began to say those things. What do you say?
Yeah, we have never taken the campaign for granted. Dr. Bawumia started visiting delegates in their constituencies way before the August elections, and he continued after the August elections. We never let our foot off the pedal. We knew how we were moving. We knew the speed at which we were moving, and we were very consistent about it. Perhaps people are saying that because of the consistency aspect and the fact that Dr. Bawumia directed those of us who speak for him, the communications team, his spokespersons, that there are certain accusations that you do not reply. We don't have to bother ourselves. We're focused on the goal. And the goal was to visit all our delegates and speak to them. We made sure we had visited them, spoken to them before we started answering some of these accusations, including the one of the attempt to bribe him. And that's some of us find quite absurd. I mean, how do you tell us that you are attempted to bribe you with $800 million? $800 million. I mean, assuming we're sharing the $800 million within our delegates, the 200,000 delegates, each one will get about $3,500. Why would we carry that money for you? Ghana is in IMF. We are trying to get the IMF to help us sort out our economy. And each trench, we are getting $600 million. And you think Dr. Bawumia has $800 million sitting somewhere that he's going to give to somebody? Some of the accusations have been quite absurd. So we did not see it fit to focus on that. Our focus was on visiting our delegates, telling them the story of Dr. Bawumia, and explaining to them why Dr. Bawumia at this time should be leading. So it's not as if we've let our foot off the paddle. We've been paddling.
You agree, don't you, that that kind of campaign has hurt your campaign, where he speaks about the bribery, he talks about, takes on Bawumia and the entire government, that you have he said you should be ignored, or he said, ignore those who have left Ghana bankrupt. And among other things, he continued to say that there was such deep-seated corruption that people were just stealing money and stashing them abroad and behaving as if there was no tomorrow. All of this have hurt your campaign, has it not?
No, it hasn't. It has hurt his campaign. The Bawumia campaign has not been bothered at all, neither has it been hurt us. If he is in the government of which you are part, he's still board member of Ghana Gas. I haven't heard he has resigned yet. His wife is still board member of the Shippers Council. I haven't heard she has resigned yet. So if you are accusing such a government, which you are part of stealing, I believe he's also part of those who are stealing and stashing money abroad. I am not part. I haven't stolen any money. Dr. Bawumia hasn't stolen any money. So if he's making those accusations, it is an accusation on himself, because he's also part of government. And he has been since 2017. The Bawumia campaign has been a very focused campaign. The Bawumia team has been very focused, and we have been focused till today. And we are focusing to the end at 5 p.m. when Dr. Bawumia will be declared as the next flag bearer of the NPP. After that, we are going to focus on breaking the 8 and winning election 2024. So these accusations have not had any effect on the Bawumia campaign. If it has had any effect, it has had an effect on his campaign, and it tells of who he is and of how he's not a team player. You are part of a team, and you are accusing your own team members of stealing when you are an integral part of the team. It tells that perhaps you yourself, you're stealing. That's why you think others are stealing.
Okay. My final question will be to you: how are you going to be able to build bridges from here on after today? Because you can see that the party is beginning to rally everyone to think positive, speak positive things, rather than, these kinds of allegations. Some have said these allegations will do such a heavy damage to your campaign for 2024 elections. How do you think it's possible to mend the wounds after today?
Well, some of these wounds, as you said, they are wounds that some candidates were trying to inflict, and they were definitely not, I don't think people actually did take them seriously. Team Bawumia, over the time, our policy has been that we would win, but would have to work with everybody. Team Bawumia is prepared to work with everybody when we win. Assuming we don't win, which I find it very unlikely, we'll still have to work with everybody, because we are all NPP first before we all decided to join the teams that we have joined. For some of us, and especially Dr. Bawumia, he believes in unity. He believes in bringing everybody together. And that has been his demeanor, that has been his pusher throughout all this campaign. You realize that he only addresses the allegations when they are made directly at him. He doesn't make allegations against anybody.
Yeah, he said he was hearing one lie each day. So he was compelled to reply to some. His wife also tried to say something, and then Ken came back to say that if he attempted to reply Samira, her marriage will collapse. Well, people have been asking, see who is calling the kettle black.
Well, now you see why I'm saying Dr. Bawumia has been very focused on his campaign, and he's been very particular about unity after the process. Because when you know you were winning, when you know you are the one in the lead, you look beyond the contest. And that's exactly what Dr. Bawumia has done. We're going to come together after this as the great party we are. You cannot stop people from contesting. That is why it is a democracy. And that is why
but you know that certainly these accusations that have been traded, particularly from Ken's camp, will be used heavily by your opponents against you in the 2024 elections. So this has been sort of a journey in self-destruction.
Not necessarily. Who are our opponents? The NDC? The NDC is going to use this? Sam said, let's move on.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Elections.
Thank you very much, Ellen Ama Daaku, communications team member for Bawumia campaign. We wish you the very best.